Hi, my name is Justin, aka Ghost Reader, and today I am going to be doing my October TBR. So, all the books that I'm going to be reading in the month of October are all books that I actually have to do reviews for. This is actually a first. I've never had a month where every book I'm actually gonna do a review for, because I've been involved in NetGalley, and I went on a NetGalley requesting spree and requested like 7 of the books I requested come out this month. One comes out on the 22nd, and the other 6 come out either on the 29th or on the 30th. So I have a lot of reading to do. I'm trying to take my NetGalley requests seriously and actually do reviews for them in a timely manner. So you're going to see at least 9 reviews, because the other 2 are Penguin books, the arts that they sent me. And so I also want to do those in a timely manner as well. So let's go ahead and get into the books that I'm going to be reading. All right, so the first book that I'm going to talk about, or I'm actually in the process of reading, is War Girls by Tochi Onyebuchi. And this book is set to come out on October 15th. And I am 65% of the way through this book, so I'm almost done with it. And so this is a YA book that focuses on, in 2172, focuses on 2 protagonists, which is Oni, which is pictured here on the cover, and Ifi, who is, or Ifioma, who is her adopted sister. And basically there's a civil war going on between Nigeria and this region in Nigeria called Biafra, who are trying to get their independence and get and maintain their independence. The world has been devastated by some nuclear war, so a lot of countries have colonies in space, but here in Nigeria they're still fighting for land and resources on the planet itself. So this follows these 2 girls and what the war and its effects on them, especially once they get separated. So again, I'm reading this now, and I'm definitely going to be providing you a review for it. A lot of people are looking forward to this book, and so I've been making my way through it. Hopefully, I think I'll be done with it this weekend, so you can expect a review of this sometime early next week, maybe Monday, sometime between Monday and Wednesday, and next week you can expect the review of War Girls. The next book is also from Penguin, and I believe this comes out on October 29th. Penguin Teen, may I say. And this is The River of Royal Blood by Amanda Joy. And so in this book, it's set in it's YA fantasy. And basically, in this particular kingdom, it's called Mire. In Mire, there are 2 sisters, and basically one has to kill the other in order to become heir to the throne. However, an assassin attacks one, and I think her name is Ava? Yeah, Ava. Ava is the main protagonist of this book, and someone attempts to assassinate her before her and her sister can have a showdown. So is it her sister who's tried to have her killed? Is there someone else out there who wants her dead? That's what this book is determined to find out as the countdown begins to their ultimate showdown. So I haven't started reading this yet, but after I finish War Girls, I will be sitting down and reading this book, and I actually kind of look forward to it because I think it may be interesting. Really like the cover of it, so we'll definitely see how this book is. Basically books that I got from NetGalley, and they're all like ebooks, so I don't have any books to hold up, so you'll get the pictures here. So the first one is Sophia, Mother of Kings by Catherine Curzon, and basically this talks about Sophia, who eventually became the Electress of Hanover, and it's basically a story about her life, and it's called Mother of Kings because her son would eventually go on to become the King of England, George I. Her grandson would become George II, and I think her daughter actually ended up marrying the King of Prussia. So this is about her life. I actually finished reading this book, so you can expect a review of this. So this is basically a biography. I just have to say right now, I actually really enjoyed reading this particular book. So you can expect that review probably sometime next week as well. The next book that I'm going to read, I've actually started this as well, is The Two Eleanors of Henry III, The Lives of Eleanor of Provence and Eleanor de Montfort by Darren Baker. And as the title says, this is kind of a biography of these two women. One was married to the King of England, Henry III, and one was married to basically like his best friend, Simon de Montfort, and kind of talks about their life at the court in English court, and how their relationship, I guess, is between the two. I haven't gotten that far in the book yet, but I think I've gotten to the part where they kind of just met each other, and also talks about their kind of like their husbands, and how eventually their two husbands will have a falling out and have this a civil war, the Second Barons' War, and so the book is about their wives and how that, of course, affects their lives and what they were doing when all the men were out fighting and stuff like that. So I'm like 17% through this book, so I'll be reading this, of course, and I have no timeline for reviewing this because I have no idea when I'm going to finish reading this. The next book I have is Case White, The Invasion of Poland, 1939, by Robert Forzeski, I believe that's how you say it. So this book to me is really interesting. I picked it up because it was a book based in World War II, but once I read the introduction, it really interests me, because this book sets out to show that there are a lot of misconceptions about the invasion of Poland in World War II that we still believe today, like the fact that they were charging, Poland mainly had cavalry, and so they were just basically charging the German tanks with cavalry, and some other misconceptions that the author says just have been kind of repeated without really deep research into the Poland archives, because not a lot of people, or at least historians in the English language, are actually going to the Polish archives and actually reading it because they don't know Polish. So he sets out to get rid of some of those misconceptions, and also as I started reading it, he puts everything in historical perspective. So he starts talking about Poland from the 14th century up until the present, in the beginning, and then starts to give you what was going on politically and also militarily just before, in that interwar period, from the end of the First World War to the start of the Second. So I like this book so far. I'm very interested to see what misconceptions that I have, that I've read in some popular histories by Keegan or Gilbert, that he's going to debunk in this book. The next book that I have is called Feminist City by Field Guide by Leslie Kearns. I picked this up solely on kind of just out of curiosity, just to see what would be said, and I kind of went into it kind of I don't know, this may be a bit too radical for me, but she made some good points, at least in the introduction. I haven't gotten really far in this book, but she did raise some points that went that's actually really good points. Some stuff that I've seen myself and kind of talked about myself. I'll talk about that more, of course, when I review the book, but there were some good points in the beginning and introduction, so I'm hoping that the rest of the book is similar. Basically, this book is about kind of talking about how cities are kind of built for males, and that's probably the most succinct way that I can put it. They're kind of built for males because they're designed by men, and they don't really accommodate women as well as they could. So that's what I've gotten from the introduction, and so I'm really interested to see where she goes with this in this book. The next book is called Genuine Fakes: How Phony Things Teach Us About Real Stuff by Lydia Pine. I think it's Pine. Sorry, I'm not sure if I didn't write it clear on the paper. But basically in this book, the author goes through different instances where people have replaced things with fakes, and we've kind of had to deal with that in terms of just things from the art world, things concerning fossils, because there have been some fake fossils out there, and basically what about that thing being fake taught us about the thing that is real. Why is it important that we have the Mona Lisa, for example, is real, or why is it important that fossils aren't faked, which I think is kind of clear why that shouldn't be done. But what is it about it that teaches us, what is it about those fake and phony things that we get all worked up about, that teaches us, what lessons does that teach us about the real stuff? And so that's what that book explores, and it does that through many different I think 9 different situations where things have been faked. So really looking forward to that. I think that's a very interesting premise, and I think it could be a really good book. the next book is called Malaya, Essays on Freedom by Chanel Barnes. You may recognize Chanel Barnes' name because I've read her first book, which was her memoir of her younger years, called Monsoon Mansion, which I read, I believe that was like June. I read that, and that is why I requested this book, because I thought Monsoon Mansion was a great book, a great memoir. It kind of got me into reading more memoirs, so that's when Obviously came along by Keela Hughes. I was down to read that. And so this isn't a memoir like Monsoon Mansion was, but this is more of like a collection of essays about her immigration experience here, moving to the United States, getting used to the culture, getting her driver's license, and all the kind of challenges that she had to overcome. And so she does this in a series of essays about that. And so I'm really interested in seeing how this collection of essays is. I really love Monsoon Mansion, so I definitely looking forward to reading this. Just like I had to pick it up because Chanel Barnes, I thought she did a really good job in Monsoon Mansion. So, and last but not least, the final book. This actually publishes in November, but it's like November 5th. So I was like, I might as well go ahead and start reading it now in October, so that by November 5th I can have the everything done and reviewed. And that this book is called "The Land Is Theirs." Oh no, This Land Is Theirs. Yeah. This Land Is Their Land. The Wampanoag Indians, the Plymouth Colony, and the Troubled History of Thanksgiving by David J. Silverman. And so, as the subtitle says, this book is kind of about the first people, the Pilgrims who came to Plymouth, and their relationship with the Indians that actually helped them survive and were present at that first Thanksgiving. So it focuses on the tribe, the Wampanoag. I'm probably butchering that name, but it's about that tribe and the relationship between the two up until I think it's called King Philip's War, where they actually started fighting again. And it kind of this book seeks to put things in perspective. And when we think about Thanksgiving and, this is time to give thanks and this celebration, that for other people and for especially Native American tribes, that it may not be, it could be, it's something much darker for them because of the events surrounding that and the legacy from that. So I thought that would be a great thing to read, timely, because Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and it will basically help put things in perspective for me. So that is it for what I'm reading in the month of October. A lot of nonfiction there, but I think it's good nonfiction, at least interesting for me. I know some of you probably fell asleep during some descriptions of some of those books, but I like to read nonfiction. This is a nonfiction heavy. I don't think I've ever read this much nonfiction in a month. And this is kind of interesting because nonfiction November is in November, and I don't plan on reading much nonfiction in November. So I'm doing it a month early. So there. So that is what I'm going to be reading for the month of October. Tell me what you guys are going to be reading in the month. If you saw anything here that you like, let me know down in the comment section below. Like I said, I'll be doing reviews for each one of these books, so you can expect the individual review for each one. The first one will be War Girls, and that should be coming out hopefully by next Wednesday. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at GhostReads28, on Instagram at Justin Ghost Reader, and also on Goodreads. The link to that's down in the description box below. And as always, keep reading.